Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Compelling Conversations podcast. Today, I'm really excited to get a chance to talk to Saucy Southpaw. He's a boxer and visiting us from where are you joining us in from now?
I'm joining in from Las Vegas, Nevada right now.
Las Vegas. Awesome. This is really cool because, I've always been curious about the folks out in Las Vegas. And
Yeah.
you're here with us today, so it's going to be exciting, man.
Yeah, no, I'm
Um,
excited to be here.
yeah, appreciate the opportunity. But I wanted to begin by asking you, where do you think weakness originates in men?
Mentality, I would say.
Say that again?
I would say mentality.
Mentality.
Most men in today's generation, man, they feed off of negative energy. They feed off of things that let me just put this on work mode. I'm sorry about that. I didn't
Oh, you're
know that
good.
just happened. And the back. Okay, yeah. So mentality, I think it's something that men feed off from negative energy, and that negative energy could be something from inside. That could be something that self-doubt, lack of confidence. These are things that I think can affect a man's mentality altogether and essentially make a man weak. Not following what you want to do, I think that will make a man really weak and make a mentality really weak.
Why?
Settling for less. Most men settle for less. Um, I can tell you from my past experience that if I didn't continue boxing, I would have been settling for less. I wouldn't be striving towards what I want to do. Obviously, there's a lot of situations in a man's life where he has to sometimes part ways. He has to go with a method that maybe his family provides, a spouse provides, friends might provide, and what he wants to do is not exactly what they want him to do. But he seems that if I go with the route that's being provided to me from the people around me, if I take that route, then I'll be safe. The reality is, yeah, you'll be safe taking that route. Yeah, you'll be maybe even successful taking that route. But is that a route that you want to take? Is that a route that will make you better? Sometimes it seems as if that route is actually, what is the word, comfort zone for these people, for these men. And they remain in these comfort zones, and being in these comfort zones prevents them from actually progressing forward and actually getting that mentality that they want to acquire, I would say.
It's really interesting you mentioned that because there's this Nietzsche quote goes something along the lines of if you make a choice because you're afraid to make the other choice, then that's not a moral choice. So I think it's really interesting that you've chosen boxing because that's
Yeah.
something that you're really into. So would you say that for yourself, that's a moral choice you made?
Oh yeah, definitely a moral choice that I made. I've been doing this for almost 7 years now, and it was definitely a moral choice, man. I mean, it's a brutal sport, not an easy sport to be in. It's not for everybody. I would not tell everybody to do it, to be honest. Um, Once you get addicted to it, it's very hard to let go. But it does come with its benefits. It does come with the mentality, the alpha male mentality, so called, and it does really help you push forward in life and allows you to see the decisions from a different perspective.
If you don't mind me asking, has this journey beaten you up and broken you? And has that made you stronger?
I think this journey does that on a repetitive nature. I think a boxer goes through that, gets broken down, gets beat up, then rebuilds himself, gets broken down, gets beat up, then rebuilds himself, you know? And that can apply to anybody. I mean, that can even apply to all the greats that have been doing this from the past. Boxing is a sport that keeps doing that to you, and you have to keep rebuilding yourself no matter what.
Yeah, that is very fascinating because that quite literally like takes on that cycle, birth, death, rebirth, birth, death, rebirth over and over again.
Yep. Yep.
Wow. Does
Yeah,
that
it's a
scare you
constant.
though?
It doesn't. It did in the past, I would say. earlier in my career. I would say it was a lot more difficult with accepting, like losing a fight or something like that. Sometimes it was a little bit harder to accept that. But as I grew more mature mentally. I was able to see that your wins and losses come with the sport altogether. Being undefeated is obviously a prize that only some can achieve, but the beauty of losing is that you're able to rebuild yourself. And sometimes even with victory, you could go in there and you can have a great fight. You could do everything that everybody expected you to do, but you didn't do what you expected yourself to do. And that can also go back to you just, going back and rebuilding yourself and trying to implement something new again.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
even with victory, that doesn't mean that you truly achieved every single checkbox, you know?
Yeah. And you mentioned like the beauty of like loss, the beauty of defeat.
Yeah.
When did you have to come to terms with that? Was there ever a moment in your life where you're like, I have to recognize that there is beauty in this?
Okay, so funny story. For the first 3 years of my boxing career, I didn't want to fight. I had some injuries and stuff that also set me back a little bit, but I didn't actually want to fight. And this is going back to my amateurs, early in my amateurs, and it was very difficult with coping with three straight losses. And even though I actually thought I won a couple of them, but three straight losses in a row really did hurt me bad. But I never gave up. I mean, that's a very big aspect of this sport. I could have given up during those times, and I tell myself all the time that I could have, but I'm glad I didn't. I just kept on just doing what I was doing, and eventually the victories started coming up on their own. Um, they kept me humble. My losses definitely kept me humble.
Wow.
Um, definitely uh, helped me strive towards something better. Whether it was just trying to achieve a victory or whether it was just trying to help other people altogether. But your losses keep you humble. Your losses keep you wanting to do more, I would say.
Yeah, that was so beautifully articulated. I really appreciate you sharing that. And what that made me think of, like right now you're in Las Vegas, and what I really like about the story of Elvis, for example,
Hmm.
is that you see that throughout his entire life, he had so many visions, so many ideas, but they were never fully, perfectly realized. And there were many moments where he was broken, beaten up, but we
Yeah.
couldn't see that. We could only see the glamour of Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
And he still held on. He still persisted. And it's like he realized I can never be 100% perfect, but you still keep going on. And there's great
Yeah.
beauty in that because, like, I mean, you said it like those three straight losses. I'm sure there was a lot of pain there, but the
Oh,
fact
it
that
was
you kept going, it's like that says something about you.
yeah, never stop. My mentality is to never stop, to keep going forward, no matter what the situation, what the scenario is. Emotionally detach yourself um, from your victories and your losses. If you're
Is that a hard thing
emotional,
to do?
it's an art of its own, I would say.
Mhm.
Definitely not something everybody can acquire. I believe men can be a bit more emotional in today's day and age. I think boxers are definitely a lot. Shit, I feel like boxers are far more emotional than they've ever been in the past. Um, I think I don't think it's bad to be emotional, but I think that when you remove your emotions from the art of war, you're a lot more clear-minded and you're able to see things from both perspectives. And when you're emotional, I believe you're at a weaker state as a fighter. So I think emotions is something you have to detach. And trying to chase what's it called? Alpha mentality.
Yeah. I believe it's Ali radiallahu anh, who has this
Mhm.
statement that detachment is not that you own nothing. but detachment is that nothing owns you. So I'm curious that for yourself on a
Yeah.
personal level, how do you detach from emotions?
I don't let it affect. I don't let the things affect me. I try to not let the things affect me. I truly believe that everything happens for a specific reason. To the most even simple things in my life. One morning I'll wake up and I won't be able to find my car keys, and I'll be upset about not being able to find my car keys. But while I'm looking for my car keys, I'm like, God saving me from some accident outside for all I know. Being 2 minutes late probably protected me from some horrific thing, from someone running into my car, if anything.
Yeah.
So even the most simple things in life, you have to be able to not be emotional about them. And when you detach your emotions from them and truly see that everything in life happens for its own purpose, then you will be able to even conquer more.
When a person does detach themselves from their emotions, do you think that that requires ripping out your heart?
No, I wouldn't say necessarily ripping out your heart. You just have to be smart about what you um, let your emotions affect with. Obviously, there's a lot of things in life that you want to be emotional about. You want to be emotional with your family, your loved ones, your mother, your sisters, your spouse, your friends. Yeah, you have to be emotional in those areas and stuff like that. But when it comes to being emotional with business, with I would say politics, I would say sports, even sports. Unless you're a diehard fan, because I'm a diehard Bears fan. But you know, those type of things I believe you have to be emotionless. Because if you don't want to mix business with emotions, you don't want to mix sports with emotions, especially if you're an athlete specifically, I would say, because you'll get caught up. You'll get caught up. Even if you get so far along with it, you'll get caught up. It'll eventually hold you back.
That's something I really have to reflect on, because I think altogether it can make you a more wholesome human being if you know
Hmm.
when to detach and how
Hmm.
to just, yeah. It says something about
Yeah.
you as well because you can recognize circumstance. And I think that's really important to be able to recognize
Yeah.
circumstance.
Being
Yeah.
able to stay calm in situations, because there's a lot of people, like, for example, you could be standing at a light and be honking. Someone could be honking at you from behind. You'll be at your phone.
Yeah.
Most people would just get pissed off. you know, how dare he honk at me? What the hell is his problem? Like,
Yeah.
you're gonna be sitting there like, what the, like, come on,
Yeah.
man. I'm just sitting there like, shit, thanks for letting me know the lights open, bro. Shit, time to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Honestly, I love that.
I
Ah,
ain't gotta be pissed, man. He let me know. Shit,
yeah.
time to go.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's really cool. I really like that, honestly. I do. I'm gonna remember that now that I'm at a light. I'm gonna remember that for sure. Yeah. There's
You
another
ain't gotta be
interesting
pissed
thing.
off.
Yeah.
He did you a favor, bro.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it, right? Yeah.
He did you a favor, or else you would have had the whole line honking at you.
Yeah. Yeah. There's another aspect of that I think is interesting. I had gotten this from an Australian artist. His name is Struthless,
Yeah,
and he talks about how if someone's like driving slow or like really
yeah,
fast or they cut you off or something, like give him the benefit of the doubt, like, oh, maybe his dad's sick, maybe he's got to go to the restroom or something, just
yeah.
let it slide. It's like, I think Jordan Peterson even discusses this where it's like
Hmm.
there's a lot of suffering in life, but
Yeah,
we don't need to add on to it like frivolous things, like a traffic light.
yeah.
Like there's just some dumb fights that we just don't need to have.
Yeah, when you're privileged in certain things, there's no reason to, see your life as the blessings. Wake up and look at everything that's a blessing. And as a Muslim, I believe it's a very essential key component of your life. You could do everything, but if you do not value your blessings, if you do not value the things that are, put forth in front of you, then you're seeking upon being miserable, essentially.
Yeah. No,
So you don't want
I
to you
really
don't want
like
to live a
that.
life like that. You don't want to live a life like that. I see everything as a blessing. Even if it seems negative, turn it into a positive.
Yes. There's this very interesting thing about the story of Moses when he's at
Yep.
the water with his people and the army of the Pharaoh is right after them. And everybody's like
Yep.
freaking out. They're like, "Yo, Moses, where's your God now, man? Like we're gonna die." And what he says to them
Yep.
is be grateful. And like when
Yep.
people are like panicking and freaking out, that's like logically not the right thing to say, right?
Not
Because
the
they're
right
like,
thing.
"Yo,
Yeah.
like what was like, and the interesting thing is
Yeah.
that he says that because it's like if you're grateful, your Lord increases you. And I think
Yeah.
that's
Fact.
just
No.
spectacular. And
No.
that's
It
when the
is. It's.
sea opens. Yeah.
Yep. No. You have to be. You have to be grateful. I mean, it's a very essential key component of life. Many people,
Yeah.
if you're not grateful, you're not happy, and that's why a lot of there's like this notion that a lot of people who don't have that much wealth in life are a lot more happier than people who do have wealth in life. You know, I think it's just the fact that those people are just a little bit more grateful in life with the things that they do have and they value them. I mean, and sometimes the wealthy as is not as much, but I mean, I've seen a lot of wealthy people that are very humble and very, grateful with the things that they have as well. So I think the main thing is just being grateful, like you said.
Yeah. As an athlete, as a boxer, um, I imagine complaining doesn't take you very far. I don't know if you have any experience
No,
with that, but I imagine that could actually make situations worse for a boxer if they complain.
yeah, I've met a lot of athletes that complain a lot all the time. Complaining has never been a part of my nature. Um, Even if I do genuinely have a problem going on and then I speak about it, I'm always like self-conscious, like, oh, dude, am I complaining right now? Am I, or but complaining is something I stay away from completely. I don't even like being around people that complain, to be honest. It's just negativity. There's no reason to complain. You're 6 feet above your grave, so there's nothing to complain about. You know,
I
that's
feel
just
like, yeah, my bad. Were you going to say something?
no, no, no. Continue, please.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I feel like because you are a boxer, you're like on the other side of something, so to speak. And I feel like there's a
Yeah,
lot of people today that because like men, I feel like a lot
yeah,
of men that aren't like engaged in like athletic things or like fighting, I feel like it
yeah,
does in some sense, I imagine, strip them of like a piece of manhood. Do you feel
yeah,
like being a boxer that you feel aligned as a man, so to speak?
yeah, yeah. I definitely feel very lost if I wasn't doing this. But Allah Alam. Allah knows best. Maybe if this is not what Allah had destined for me, I would be probably doing something else. You know. But altogether, I would say that yeah, it does line up. It does line you up with your manhood. And anybody that does not compete in any, it doesn't even matter compete, but train in any form of combat sports, I definitely feel as if they're missing out on their true potential. You know, as a man, God has gifted you with the ability of strength. You know, that's man's ability that God has, gifted us with. And if you do not use your strength or if you do not train the ability of your strength, you will not be able to capitalize on your true inner self, I believe. And I think that goes with a lot of men that are not doing anything combat sports related. You know, they're finding other things to kind of cope with it, but they're setting themselves back like completely, I would say.
The way I see it, because you are on like the other side, so to speak, I feel like you can see other people and perhaps have an idea like, wow, like that person is seriously missing out on something. Do you think
Yeah.
that this is like a key piece that could, in some essence, liberate them?
Yeah, key component. What would you do if war breaks out tomorrow? What are you gonna do? Hide inside your house? You don't know what the hell to do. You don't even know how to defend yourself. You get what I'm saying? Like
So deep.
war breaks out tomorrow, right? Boom, you
Yeah.
got fucking shit coming from everywhere. What
Zombie
are you gonna
apocalypse.
what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
What are you gonna do? You can't even defend yourself, let alone defend your family.
damn. Deep.
So I mean, come on, dude. Like you gotta have some type of ability to self defend yourself. What are you gonna learn on the job? Someone's trying to attack you. You finally, luckily, had a hammer to your side. Now you're gonna try to figure out how to use that hammer. You know,
Yeah,
and actually even hurting somebody, man. If you never hurt somebody, how are you gonna know what it actually? Do you even have it in you to actually hurt somebody? I think that's about as bottom as it gets. If you've
yeah,
never defending yourself is one thing. Okay, cool. You know how to defend yourself. But have you ever hurt somebody physically? Have you ever hurt somebody? And until you actually physically hurt somebody, you don't know what it actually feels like. You've never been on that side of the path. So it's a key component. You have to be able to defend yourself. I think every man has to learn how to defend themselves. And if they don't, then they're simply just lacking. I think that's
yeah,
and I can see it. I mean, I know people that can do it and people that can't. And not everybody is able to do it at the best as the other guy. Everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. One guy might not be better at doing something than compared to the next guy. But that doesn't mean that you have to prevent yourself from being able to learn that.
yes. That's a really thought-provoking statement. It's something really to reflect on, I think. And it makes me think about like this concept of a werewolf and
Yeah,
about how like you have like an individual might have that capability to
yeah.
become this wolf, but it's up to them if they can control that. And if they can, it makes them all the more composed of a person.
Yeah, you have to be. I mean, once you learn your ability, once you've mastered your art, then comes a part of mastering of being able to stay composed in certain situations.
Mm.
It's like me, man. I would avoid a street fight altogether. I wouldn't try to get into one of those.
Yeah. But it's like you're capable of one, and that makes it all
One
the
hundred
more
percent.
important, eh?
100%. To me inside, I'm just like, oh man, you have no idea.
Yeah, yeah.
You have
No.
no idea.
Is there like a particular warrior or fighter that you're really inspired by and you look up to, and why?
Khalid bin Walid, I would say
And why is that?
that's straight warrior, man. That man, that man would go eyes shut straight into war. He was next
Yeah.
level. While the army's in the back worrying about stuff, he's already in the battlefield. So, to me, those are the type of warriors I look up to, I would say.
Is there a particular story of his life that really inspires you?
Um, I believe it was the story of how the Romans and how they were outnumbered by them, and yet they still went into battle and they still found a way to defeat them. With the help of Allah. The fact that he was titled the Sword of Allah, Saifullah, and the Prophet peace be upon him stated that the Sword of Allah can never be broken. Just we'll never be able to be like them. You know, they're on a whole different level, but we can aspire to be like them. You know,
Yes.
there's nothing wrong with aspiring to be like them, or maybe even using their warrior mentality traits towards your aspects of life. You could. That's pretty much how I try to implement things.
Deep.
Never giving up type of mentality.
Yeah. In the beginning of our conversation, you mentioned humility, and I thought that
Yeah,
was really cool because um, I imagine it's really easy to become arrogant when you have the
yeah,
capability to, um, beat people up, so to speak.
yeah.
So,
No, without a
so
doubt.
what has humility done for you?
Everything, man. Humility is everything in life. Recognizing the fact that the person opposite of you bleeds the same. You know,
Wow.
We all bleed the same. We all bleed red. And whether you're a Muslim, whether you're a non-Muslim, a human is a human at the end of the day. And everybody has the ability to improve, and everybody has the ability to make better of themselves. So, and I think that's a very humility. That's a part of humility is understanding the opposite party. Understanding their position, understanding of, sometimes certain people may be doing better than you in life. Some people might not be doing better than you in life. You have to be able to recognize these things. When you're standing across from an individual, you have to be able to know, hey, am I doing better than this guy, or is this guy doing better than me? You know, and not saying you judge the situation based upon that, but you definitely have to uh, allow your humility to come into that. You know, because if it's a person that's doing a little bit better than you, if it's a person that's a little bit more ahead in life, you're going to give them respect, right? You're going to give them respect. You're going to try to learn some traits from them, see what things they did in life that allowed them to get to the position that they're at, you know? But now versus, let's say, somebody who's doing a little bit less than you, right? But now your humility can come into that scenario. And what you can do is maybe pass your teachings on to them. Maybe allow your good traits and your good teachings to help them better themselves, and maybe allow them to become a better version of themselves.
Yeah.
So being able to recognize the individual in front of you is a very key component of maintaining humility, I would say.
It's not about clipping wings, it's about strengthening them, huh?
We're all humans at the end of the day.
Yeah. Deep. Well,
We
sorry, go ahead.
continue, please, please.
I was gonna say that it makes me curious. What invites a person to become pretentious, do you think?
Pretentious. You're gonna have to define that word for me, man. My vocabulary, it's a little bit verbose for me.
No, you're good, man. You're good. It's kind of like arrogance. What invites a person to become arrogant?
The devil.
The devil? Yeah, and
Shaitan.
it's
Shaitan and his traps, bro. They be getting them. That's how man gets arrogant.
it's real interesting you mentioned that because this whole conversation we've been having, I've been thinking about the story of Cain and Abel, and that's kind of like the
Yeah.
first story of violence in the human. If you believe in that Abrahamic tradition, that's
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
first instance of violence. So makes me wonder
Yeah.
how you get invited to that side.
Yeah, I mean, Shaitan is what tricks everybody. The devil can mess with anybody.
Yeah.
And you know, you have to be able to be patient with certain things. Just because someone says, okay, I could be going out somewhere, some popular coach or somebody says something to me. Hey, you're doing this wrong, you know, while everybody else around me thinks that I'm doing it right. And I take this into offense. Me taking that into offense is actually potentially the waswas of shaitan. He's messing with my head into thinking that, hey, dude, who the hell is this guy to tell me I got my whole team with me? So if in that exact scenario I let my emotions get the better of me, and that's what shaitan likes to strive off of, manipulate you through your emotions.
Mm.
So I can sit there and be affected by his, you know, while in reality, if I just overlook it at that current time, go back maybe a week down later, just to watch myself shadow boxing in the mirror, something like that. And then I see what he was telling me, you know,
That's that is
and
deep,
maybe I
man.
could
Honestly.
try to create my own version of it.
Yeah.
So I mean, don't let shaitan mess with you. And if you feel like, be aware of the what's of shaitan. So that way, when you know that shaitan's messing with your head right now, just let that shit go. Let it go. Go back to it later, maybe a week down later. You don't have to do
Sleep on
everything
it.
right
Yeah.
away.
I
Sleep
feel
on it. You
that.
don't have to. You don't have to. You don't have to do everything right away.
Yeah. And I really like how you mentioned this because it reminds me of that statement of the Prophet, peace be upon him, that the
Hmm.
strong man is not the greatest wrestler. The strong man is the one who can control his anger. Deep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't get angry.
Yeah.
Angry is no good.
Yeah, saucysouthpaw. This has been honestly a really cool conversation, man. Thanks
Yeah,
so much
man.
for joining me. I'm curious, do you have any closing thoughts? Anything that you felt like you wanted to say, you didn't get a chance to, or anything you wanted to express?
Not exactly. I would just tell everybody out there, all the dudes out there, whatever you love to do, whatever you want to follow in life, give it time. Try to actually work towards it. It can be anything that you enjoy, but don't give up on it. Even if you give it 10% out of the week, don't give up on it. Still do something on it. Still work on yourself. Even if you're working on other things that other people want you to achieve in life, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with keeping your family members happy and your friends happy. But if there's something that you desire and somebody else is preventing you from chasing that, sorry, we got disconnected there for a second. Keep chasing that. Don't stop on it. Keep working on your dreams. And anybody who wants to follow me at Instagram at saucysouthpaw. If you want to follow me on TikTok, same at saucysouthpaw. And just looking forward to making a great change with the sport of boxing.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks again, Saad, for being here. I really
No
enjoyed
worries at
our
all. Appreciate
conversation.
it. No, I really
Yeah.
appreciate it. Thanks for having me, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I suppose until next time then, eh? You
Next time,
take care,
brother.
my friend.
You too.
Thank you.